Well, yeah, as usual, we're going to start with like a 15-20 minute meditation and then go into a talk. So if you want to find a seat that's comfortable for you, upright but at ease, you can close your eyes if you feel safe doing so. Otherwise, a soft gaze on the floor in front of you. Is the door open? Yeah. Take a few slow, deep breaths. Sort of feel yourself arrive in this moment. The meditation will begin and end with the sound of the bell. So for the next 20 minutes, we'll be practicing metta, or loving kindness. This practice helps us connect to the part of the heart that can wish well for others and ourselves without needing anything in return. In a world that's full of conditions and transactional relationships, metta allows us to plant a seed in the mind, one that's centered in care, community, and unconditional love. This isn't about forcing a feeling. It's about softening the edges of a critical mind and offering ourselves refuge in life's most difficult moments and in the mundane ones. So we'll take a moment to soften the body and settle in with a body scan. Starting at the top of the head, relax the forehead, the eyes, the jaw. Let your tongue fall from the roof of the mouth. Move your attention down into the shoulders, allowing them to drop away from the ears. Like stepping into a warm shower, feel that softening sort of travel down through your chest, your arms, into your belly. Let the breath gently move through the body, releasing any tension. Feel the support of the cushion or the chair beneath you. Let the weight of your legs and your body be held. There's nothing you need to do. There's nowhere to go. Just be here in this moment. Begin to bring your attention to the center of your chest, your heart center. If it feels supportive, you can place your hand gently over your heart, or just imagine breathing in and out of this space. Breathing in, connect to the warmth that lives there. And breathing out, soften into it. Imagine offering a hug to someone you love. Where do you feel that tenderness, that connection? Let yourself breathe in and out of that embodied warmth. We'll begin our loving kindness practice by offering loving kindness to ourselves. This might feel easy or it might feel unfamiliar. Either is okay. Breathing in and out of the heart center, begin to offer yourself these words. Breathing in, may I be at ease. Breathing out, may I be at ease. Breathing in, may I be at peace. Breathing out, may I be at peace. Breathing in, may I be kind and gentle to myself. Breathing out, may I be kind and gentle to myself. Breathing in, may I be filled with loving kindness. Breathing out, may I be filled with loving kindness. Continue to breathe in and out of the heart space, repeating those phrases if they're supportive. May I be at ease. May I be at peace. May I be kind and gentle with myself. May I be filled with loving kindness. Say them slowly, releasing any expectation of what this should be like or feel like, and instead, just return to the intention. It's completely normal for the mind to wander, and when it does, just gently return to the breath and the heart center. May I be at ease. May I be at peace. May I be kind and gentle with myself. May I be filled with loving kindness. If you'd like, you can begin to expand your loving kindness bubble by bringing someone you care about to mind. Someone who it's easy to wish well. Picture them in your mind's eye and offer them the following phrases. May you be at ease. May you be at peace. May you be kind and gentle with yourself. May you be filled with loving kindness. Let that care extend naturally. There's no rush to move onwards. You always have the option to return to your breath and to loving kindness for yourself. We'll take a few minutes in silence now. Feel the breath in the heart space. Repeat the phrases if helpful, or just rest in the intention of loving kindness. The meditation will end at the sound of the bell. Slowly return to the space. Everyone feeling good? Yeah. So that practice was of metta, loving kindness, which is what our talk is going to be on today. Metta is commonly translated as loving kindness or sometimes like friendliness. And yeah, I thought it was relevant for a few reasons. The state of the world, I think we could all use a little loving kindness right now. And we'll be exploring over the next 4-ish weeks all of the heart practices, which include sympathetic joy, compassion, and also equanimity. And it's also Pride Month, so how can we be in joy and acceptance and love with each other and community? So yeah, I hope it resonates. In general, I would say I've been struggling a little bit lately. I have lots of anxiety, lots of thoughts, and whenever I'm in spaces like that, I try to return to rituals or practices that help me connect, help me return, help me tune in, and Metta is definitely one of them. It's the practice of connecting to our innate capacity to care for ourselves, for others, for the world. And it's not about being like sweet or sentimental, which is like, I don't know, loving kindness can seem like, oh, how cute. It's about cultivating a steady, unconditional friendliness, even when it feels hard or unfamiliar. Especially in a world that is quite transactional. You do for me, I'll do for you, or performative. Metta gives us permission to offer care simply because we can. And for many of us, especially those in marginalized communities, this practice can be both revolutionary and healing. To be able to say to myself, may I be at peace, may I be at ease, can be a radical act. So in this talk, I'll be exploring 3 things. 1, what is metta and how does it differ from being just like nice? 2, what are some of the challenges that can come up when practicing metta as we try to offer care to ourselves and others? And how can we practice metta off the cushion? So beyond just, sitting here today and offering ourselves nice words, how can we do that in daily life? So metta, like I had mentioned, translates to loving kindness. And it's an attitude and a wish for well-being. It's a genuine hope that others, including ourselves, can be free from suffering and know peace. And it's not about having like warm, fuzzy feelings for everyone. It's not a passive practice. Metta is actually quite active. So are the other 4 heart practices. It's about a commitment to goodwill, even when it's difficult or awkward or inconvenient. And energetically, it's about, like pursuing something even when it's hard, pursuing good, pursuing joy and love, even when it's hard. It doesn't require that you feel love in order to practice it, which is really important. It's not coming from a place of, I feel good, so now I can give good. It's like, even in the moments of suffering and difficulty, we can still practice metta. And it's about sort of like, again, like I'd mentioned in the beginning, like planting that seed, and the seed will eventually, expand. The thought, the practice will expand, and it will become easier to tap into over time. My first retreat I did with Andrew. It was a week-long silent meditation retreat in North Carolina. No one told me that doing your first retreat as a week long was like cuckoo bananas. It was incredibly uncomfortable. And it was a Metta retreat. And the silence wasn't even the difficult part. It was practicing Metta towards myself. And yeah, I sort of went into it thinking like, oh, Metta, loving kindness, like rose-colored glasses, like toxic positivity was kind of what was coming to mind as we were like, going through the week. And I had a point where I was like, I think I need to talk to the teacher because like this is not going anywhere, like productivity. There's nowhere to go. But so I had a talk with my teacher and he was like, yeah. I was like, I'm struggling. He's like, mm-hmm. I was like, okay, how do I get to the part where I'm supposed to be like loving and, oh, love for myself, like, yay. And he was like, no, he's like, that's the whole point, is that even in the suffering, you can give that part or through that part loving kindness. It's like, yes, it's both and. I am suffering right now. This doesn't feel comfy or good or normal. And I do wish myself peace and ease, and I wish others the same, even when I'm in that like weird icky place. There's a quote from Lama Rod Owens, who, if you were around during African American History Month, we sort of highlighted his teachings. He wrote a book called Love and Rage, and this quote is from him. He says, also to mention, as we explore Pride Month, I'm going to try to tap into like queer Buddhist teachers, and there aren't a ton. Lama Rod is queer and has like a ton of books that he's contributed to, talks, workshops, retreats, etc. And he said, there's something about our identity as activists that is so closely related to the anger that we experience. What would it look like if we formed our activist communities around joy, not the suffering or the anger, as a basis for our change work? And that really resonated with me as someone who's worked in nonprofits. The last one I worked at was like highly rooted in like organizing, and just there's a lot of organizing happening in the world today. And I think for me, it's difficult because I think so much of like media and society wants to focus on like the pain. And it's not to like erase the pain, but there's pain outside. There's pain in here in my mind. It makes it difficult to find the moments of joy, of like beauty, when that's like the source of things, when that's like the only thing that's being highlighted. And so I think Metta offers a sort of like skylight into that. It allows like the warmth to coexist, the light to coexist with the dark in that way. So yeah, some of the challenges that can arise in practicing loving kindness, it's hard sometimes to turn kindness towards yourself, towards myself. It can feel unnatural. I think especially if you also share, like I do, internalized beliefs of like not being enough, of only being worthy when you're like worth something to someone. Again, that like transactional relationships, or most certainly in like marginalized communities where there may be like layers of like shame or fear around like care, self-care, acceptance, or where like maybe love or kindness has been like withheld. And sometimes that means it's easier to offer compassion to other people before ourselves. And I know that, like I had mentioned, Metta for self has always been the hardest. I'm like a homegrown people pleaser. Like my worth was totally tied up with what I could do for others, what I could produce for others, how I could meet others' needs, which has meant a lot of like self-sacrifice. So Metta towards self is like, yeah, that's the touchy one. That's the one that like I have to work at. But my teacher shared that with me during the retreat too, that like, then don't start with Metta towards self. Like if like that's the barrier to the practice, then start with others. Start with someone that you know, your dog, or like, you know, a parent, or a close friend, or whomever might be the easier one, and work your way towards the more difficult ones. Yeah, remove whatever's that barrier. So if practicing Metta towards self is the one, then like Okay, maybe next time. Yeah, I think also like being, I'm biracial, and so like growing up never existing in any one community as like enough has also like led towards that. There was no like space to find like grounding and like love and care in that way. So that was also a part of like the self identity and the loving kindness towards self that was difficult. Metta can also be tricky towards people whom we maybe don't have great relationships with, who maybe we share differing beliefs, or maybe those people have caused harm. And I want to be very clear that like metta does not mean condoning harm. The loving kindness title is not like an erasure of harm caused. It's not an acceptance of like acts that are bad or have hurt you. Metta is about refusing to let the hatred take root in your own heart. It's about offering care. Doesn't mean agreeing. It means choosing peace for yourself. So as you practice this, try to remove the expectations that like metta is going to maybe transform your opinions of people or even yourself. It's about like, I would rather return to a space of peace and ease and loving kindness for myself. Like that is a practice for myself that then trickles out into like our relationships and our communities. The Buddha didn't say we should like everyone, but he did say that we can wish well for all beings, because that wish frees us too. Joanna Hardy, who is another one of my favorite teachers, said, in metta practice, it's normal for the doubting mind to pop up and challenge the notion of loving ourselves and others. Don't let this doubt stop you. It is important to know that metta is not a practice of perfection, but one of cultivation. So how do we bring metta off the cushion into everyday life? On the cushion, we start small. So like if you wanted to place your hand on your heart, maybe that's just where it starts and stops. It's just that. Maybe it's offering yourself those phrases. May I be at ease, may I be at peace, may I be kind and gentle with myself, may I be, maybe that's where it is. Or maybe it's just focusing on the heart space in general, like the general part of the body. You don't have to believe the words right away. The power is in the intention. So like we had talked about the seed, planting the seed. When we plant a seed in real life, we don't water it and then automatically expect a flower to appear. It's not like Sims, So it takes time. And you notice over time, as you continue to water a seed and nurture it, it grows and it transforms. And that's what this practice is like. So off the cushion, it could look like replacing harsh self-talk with a breath and a gentle reminder. So as my like thoughts are spiraling, like, you're not worthy, or you're stupid, you're doing this wrong, noting that and then being like, hey, okay, I'm just going to stop. I'm just going to take a breath. Maybe not even going into the loving kindness. I love that. It's like, well, my brain's not really there yet. I'm just going to stop and I'm going to breathe. That's an act of loving kindness. Sometimes it means saying no when it doesn't honor your well-being. So setting boundaries is an act of loving kindness towards yourself. Sometimes it's choosing to see another person's dignity, even when they're hard to be around. So the basic dignity of being human. Sometimes I like joke to myself. Mainly it's when driving. Or when it's like, someone left something somewhere and I'm like, man, if everyone was just more like me, like, all of this would just be great. Which is hilarious because like I had mentioned, like metta towards self is hard. So I'm like, I am more so going to honor or like see the dignity in other people before myself. So I don't know why I want everyone to be like me. But recently in therapy, my therapist was noting when I was saying something positive, like a positive experience. She's like, oh, that's interesting. And it just showed me that, like, yeah, a lot of stuff can be coming up, the struggle, whatever, but the fact that I was able to notice something positive is the practice, is the progress in and of itself. And sometimes I don't notice that on my own, so it's nice to have people and community and professionals who can do that and support it. So during Pride Month, practicing metta might look like celebrating your and others' joy without apology. It might look like offering yourself the love and acceptance that may have once been withheld. It could look like holding space for both grief and celebration, and wishing well for those who are still struggling to feel seen and safe. Metta is a heart practice that reminds us that we belong, that we're not broken or unworthy, not because of how we identify or how we love or what we can provide for others. It's just because we're human. And when we practice loving kindness, we're reclaiming that truth for ourselves, and that we deserve care. Thich Nhat Hanh, who is since passed, but a very prolific Buddhist teacher and monk, said, "May I learn to look at myself with the eyes of understanding of love. May I be able to recognize and touch the seeds of joy and happiness in myself. May I learn to identify and see the sources of anger, craving, and delusion in myself. May I know how to nourish the seeds of joy in myself every day." So the takeaway of this talk, one of hopefully many, is that you don't have to feel loving kindness to practice loving kindness. You just have to be willing to try again and again. And that metta isn't a mood. Loving kindness isn't a mood. It's a muscle. And like any other muscle, the more we use it, the stronger it's going to get. And I hope that you leave here today with a bit more ease and peace and loving kindness for yourself.